You think forgiving them is about setting them free, but Allah is asking you to forgive so He can finally free you. If you don't hear this tonight, your pain will keep controlling you. Your resentment will keep chaining your soul, and the person who hurt you will still live inside your chest, long after they've walked out of your life. Tonight, Allah wants you to know, forgiveness isn't for them. It's Him whispering, "Let me carry the weight you were never meant to hold." The prison of holding on. Think about it. Every time the memory comes back, your chest grows heavy. Every time their face flashes in your mind, you feel a sting you can't explain. Every time you sit alone, the silence grows loud with their betrayal. You tell yourself you've moved on. You smile at people. You laugh in public. But the truth is, deep inside, you're still carrying it. They hurt you once, but by holding on, you let them hurt you again and again. Not with their words, not with their actions, but with the replay in your own mind. Do you see it? They stabbed you once, but you've been twisting the knife inside your own chest ever since. You wake up heavy, you fall asleep restless, and even the blessings Allah places around you feel dim, because the shadow of what they did still follows you. It's like dragging a chain wherever you go. No matter how fast you try to walk, no matter how far you try to run, the sound of that chain reminds you you're still bound. But here's the truth no one tells you. They moved on. They live their life. They forget. They laugh. They eat. They sleep. They breathe. But you keep suffocating on a memory. And the saddest part, they don't even know the storm still lives inside you. They don't even feel the weight you carry. They don't even see the tears you hide in the dark. So who is really suffering? Not them, it's you. Anger feels like power at first. It feels like your shield. It feels like your way of holding on to justice. But in reality, it's a prison with invisible walls. A prison that keeps your soul locked away. A prison that steals your laughter. A prison that makes your own bed feel like chains. And you sit inside it. While the door is already wide open, Allah already gave you the key. But your hands tremble, refusing to drop the weight. You think holding on protects you, but holding on is what's destroying you. Because every time you drink from the cup of anger, the poison doesn't touch them. It touches you. It hardens your heart. It burns your chest. It steals the softness from your soul. It's like carrying a burning coal in your hand, refusing to let go, believing the fire will somehow leap and burn them. But the only one left with scars is you. How long will you carry this? How long will you give them free rent inside your heart? How long will you let their shadow block Allah's light from reaching you? Allah did not write your story to be stuck here. He did not create you to live chained to what someone else did. He created you to walk free, to walk light, to walk closer to Him. But you can't walk closer to Allah when you're dragging someone else's sin on your back. They wronged you. That's between them and Allah now. But you, by holding on, you wrong yourself every day after. And Allah is watching not just what they did, but how you respond. He is whispering to your soul, "My servant, let go. Not for them, for you. Because I want to heal you, but you keep clutching the wound. You think holding on is strength. But real strength is the courage to release what is burning you. When you hold on, you tie your heart to the past. When you let go, you give your heart back to Allah. And the truth is, you can't change what happened. You can't go back and erase the moment they betrayed you. You can't rewrite the words they spoke. You can't undo the wound they left. But you can choose what happens next. Will you live every day as if the wound is fresh? Or will you finally say, "Ya Allah, I can't carry this anymore. I give it to you." Because the moment you release it to Him is the moment your soul breathes again. Do you see how Shaitan tricks you? He whispers that holding on is power. He convinces you that replaying the pain is your way of staying safe. But in reality, He just wants your heart chained. He wants your soul tired. He wants your faith blocked, because a chained heart cannot fly to Allah. A heavy soul cannot taste sukoon. A wounded chest cannot feel the sweetness of dua. And you know this, because when you pray you feel distracted. When you make dua, your tears feel stuck. When you smile, it feels forced. That's what happens when you let bitterness live inside you. It doesn't just stay about them. It spreads, it spills, it poisons everything. It poisons your peace. It poisons your sleep. It poisons your joy. It even poisons the way you see Allah's blessings. You could be standing in a room full of light, but your eyes will still search for the shadow. You could have people who love you deeply, but you'll still feel unloved because the wound they left keeps whispering, "You're not safe. You're not worthy." And that whisper is a lie that only forgiveness can silence. Forgiveness doesn't mean you forget. It doesn't mean you invite them back into your life. It doesn't mean you trust them again. Forgiveness means you stop letting their action live inside you. It means you stop carrying their sin on your back. It means you say, "Ya Allah, I let go of what they did, because I want to hold on to you instead." That's why forgiveness isn't for them. It never was. It's for you. It's for your soul. It's for your freedom. You deserve peace. You deserve to wake up without that ache. You deserve to pray without that distraction. You deserve to smile without that shadow behind it. And Allah wants that for you, but He will not force it on you. He is waiting for you to open your hands and release it, because only then can He fill your heart with His light. And imagine that moment. Imagine your chest no longer heavy. Imagine your heart finally soft. Imagine your soul light enough to fly in dua. That is what forgiveness feels like. Not weakness, not surrender, but freedom. And freedom is what Allah created you for. Allah's justice is already written. They wronged you, they hurt you, they left you carrying wounds you never asked for. And sometimes, when you're alone, you wonder, will they ever pay for what they did? Will anyone see the truth? Will I always be the only one bleeding? But listen carefully. Allah is Al-Adl, the most just. His justice is not delayed. His justice is not blind. His justice never forgets. Every tear you cried was recorded. Every silent night you spent replaying their words was seen. Every time your heart broke in a place no one else could see, Allah was already there, watching, counting, knowing. You think no one noticed. You think the world moved on. You think they got away. But in reality, Allah already wrote the balance, and His scale never tips unjustly. Do you see how small you feel when you think you must carry the case yourself? You hold on to anger because you believe if you let go, they will escape. But how could they escape when the judge of all judges has already sealed their file? Nothing slips His sight. Not the whisper of a tongue, not the glance of an eye, not the cruelty of a moment that broke you. Even when they laughed, even when they seemed proud, even when they walked away as if untouched, Allah saw the arrogance in their chest, and He wrote it. Do you remember the ayah? Indeed, Allah does not wrong anyone, even by an atom's weight. And if it is a good deed, He multiplies it. So if not even an atom's weight of good is lost, how could even an atom's weight of evil disappear? It is all written. It is all preserved. It is all waiting for the day when no tongue can lie, no foot can run, no soul can deny. And you think forgiving means they've escaped. But forgiving only means you've handed the case over to Allah's court. And His court does not miss. His court does not delay. His court does not need you to hold on. Think about the burden you carry. It is heavy. It is painful. It crushes you, and yet you cling to it because you think letting it go will set them free. But in reality, letting it go sets you free, because Allah never needed you to guard His justice. He only needed you to trust it. You see, when you refuse to forgive, you are saying, Ya Allah, I don't believe you'll handle this. But when you forgive it, you are saying, Ya Allah, I trust your justice more than my anger. And that is where peace begins. Look around you. How many people have hurt others and thought they got away? How many tyrants walked this earth, mocking the weak, laughing at the broken? Where are they now? Buried, silent, unable to take even a single breath without Allah's permission. Justice came for them, and justice will come for the ones who hurt you, not on your timing, not on theirs, but on Allah's, and His timing is always perfect. You have to understand this. Justice in this world is fragile. Courts can fail, people can lie, the powerful can silence the weak, but Allah's court never fails. On the day of judgment, there will be no lawyers to twist the truth, no money to buy silence, no power to hide the evidence. On that day, every tongue will testify against itself, every hand will speak, every foot will bear witness to where it walked, and every tear you cried will stand as evidence in your favor. So why carry the weight of revenge when Allah has already promised you His justice? Do you know what happens when you hold on to resentment? You chain yourself to their sin. You keep reliving what they did. You let their darkness linger inside your chest. But when you forgive, you cut the chain, you place the file in Allah's court, and you finally say, Ya Allah, I trust you more than my pain. This is why the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever forgives, Allah will raise his honor. Because forgiving doesn't mean they won. It means you chose Allah over your anger. It means you rose higher than the one who hurt you. It means you trusted His promise. Do not think Allah is unaware of what the wrongdoers do. He only delays them until the day when eyes will stare in horror. Subhanallah. Do you feel the weight of that? Allah is telling you, I see them. I see what they did, and I am delaying, not forgetting. So why are you punishing yourself with sleepless nights when Allah has already written their judgment? You don't need to keep replaying it. You don't need to keep plotting in your head how you would have answered them differently, how you would have stopped them, how you would have made them pay, because Allah has already written something far more precise. He has already prepared a justice that not only addresses the act, but the intention behind it, the arrogance that fueled it, the lies that followed it. And here's the beauty. When you let go, Allah doesn't just take the burden away. He replaces it with light. He replaces it with peace. He replaces it with a heart that no longer feels heavy. You see, when you forgive for His sake, you are saying, Ya Allah, my heart matters more than my anger. My peace matters more than my revenge. Your promise matters more than my pain. And Allah never lets that go unrewarded. Every moment you bite your tongue instead of cursing them, Allah records it. Every night you cry but choose not to hate, Allah records it. Every time you want to break but whisper, Ya Allah, heal me, Allah records it. And what Allah records is never lost. It will follow you into your grave. It will rise with you on the day of judgment. It will stand beside you when everyone is searching for hope. Forgiving doesn't erase what they did. It doesn't mean they escape. It simply means you escape from the prison of bitterness, from the fire of resentment, from the weight of carrying a case Allah already sealed. So the next time the memory stings your heart, don't replay the scene in anger. Replay this instead. Allah saw it. Allah recorded it. Allah will handle it. And I will let it go. Forgiveness is your freedom. You think forgiving means weakness. You think forgiving means they won. You think forgiving means your pain didn't matter. But in reality, forgiveness is not about them. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks the prison you've been living in. Because anger is a chain, resentment is a cage, and every time you replay their betrayal, you tighten the lock yourself. You know that heaviness in your chest, that sigh you breathe without words, that lump in your throat that never fully goes away. That is the weight of unforgiveness. It is not just an emotion, it is a prison that steals your peace, a prison that drains your energy, a prison that blinds you from the blessings Allah has already placed in your life. And the strangest part? The door to this prison is not locked. It never was. It has been open the whole time, but you keep sitting inside, gripping the bars, because you believe letting go means losing. But the truth is, letting go is winning, because the moment you forgive, you are no longer chained to their shadow. You are no longer carrying their sin in your chest. You are no longer giving them the power to control your mornings and your nights. Forgiveness does not erase the past. It simply releases your soul from being held hostage by it. Think about it. They hurt you once. That was their sin. But by holding on, you allow that wound to bleed into every corner of your life. You let their words echo in your mind years later. You let their actions dictate how you see yourself today. Why should they live inside you rent-free? Why should their mistake keep poisoning your heart when Allah already gave you a way to cleanse it? Forgiveness is not saying, "It was okay." Forgiveness is saying, "It hurt me, but it will not own me." Forgiveness is handing the wound to Allah and letting Him heal it in a way you never could, and you will feel it. The moment you forgive sincerely for Allah's sake, you will feel the chains loosen. The weight will begin to lift. Your soul will taste something it has been craving for years: freedom. You don't realize how heavy anger is until you put it down. You don't realize how dark resentment is until you step into the light. You don't realize how much life you lost until Allah gives it back to you through forgiveness. Forgiveness is not about them sleeping better at night. It's about you finally sleeping without tears. It's about you waking up without that ache. It's about you praying without that distraction in your chest. It's about you breathing again. Do you know what happens when you don't forgive? Your heart hardens, your soul tires, your chest becomes heavy, and even when you smile, the pain leaks through your eyes. But when you forgive, your heart softens, your soul feels alive again, your chest feels light, and even when you smile, it feels real. Because forgiveness is your freedom. It is Allah's way of saying, "My servant, don't carry this anymore. Give it to me. Let me heal what you cannot." Imagine yourself standing in front of Allah on the day of judgment. Imagine Him saying to you, "You forgave when you could have held on. You chose mercy when you could have chosen anger. So today I forgive you." Subhanallah. Isn't that worth it? Have you ever noticed how heavy silence feels? When you're carrying anger inside, you sit in a room alone, and it feels like the air is pressing down on your chest. That is the weight of unforgiveness. It is invisible to others, but to you, it feels like a mountain sitting on your heart. And that mountain will not move until you decide to hand it to Allah. You keep thinking you're protecting yourself by holding on. You keep telling yourself, "If I forgive, they'll think they won." But in truth, the only one winning right now is Shaitan. He wins every time you stay awake, replaying their words. He wins every time your chest burns with rage in sujud. He wins every time your hands raise in dua, but your heart is too heavy to release the tears. Because unforgiveness is not protection. It is punishment. It punishes you. It punishes your sleep. It punishes your peace. But forgiveness is your freedom. Forgiveness is your escape from the prison you built around yourself. Imagine chains around your soul, thick and cold, dragging with every step you take. And then, imagine dropping them, watching them hit the ground, and finally being able to walk without the sound of dragging metal behind you. That is what forgiving feels like. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is not saying, "It didn't matter." It is saying, "It mattered, but I will not let it destroy me any longer." It is saying, "Ya Allah, I give this pain to you. I trust you to heal me in ways I cannot heal myself. I trust you to handle them in ways I cannot handle. I trust you enough to let go. And when you release it in sujud, something happens. Your tears no longer feel bitter. Your chest no longer feels tight. Your dua no longer feels blocked. It feels like breathing for the first time after drowning. Because forgiveness is not for them. It is not for the one who betrayed you. It is not for the one who broke you. It is for you. It is Allah setting your soul free. Do you know why it feels impossible sometimes? Because your nafs doesn't want to let go. Your ego wants revenge. Your pride wants to see them suffer. But your soul just wants peace. Your soul just wants to rest. Your soul just wants to return to Allah without chains. And that is why Allah loves forgiveness. Because when you forgive, you're not siding with them. You're siding with your soul. You're siding with Allah. You're choosing Jannah over revenge. Think about Jannah for a moment, a place where no bitterness exists, no resentment, no anger, no wounds, no grudges, only peace, only freedom, only light. And how can the one who refuses to forgive in dunya ever taste the sweetness of a Jannah built upon forgiveness? This is why the Prophet ﷺ told us that the strong one is not the one who fights back in anger. The strong one is the one who controls himself in anger, the one who chooses forgiveness. Forgiveness is not weakness. Forgiveness is strength. Forgiveness is courage. Forgiveness is freedom. Because when you forgive, you are not saying, I excuse what they did. You are saying, I will not carry what they did anymore. You are saying, my heart deserves peace, my soul deserves freedom, and Allah deserves my trust. And Allah loves the one who trusts Him enough to let go. When you don't forgive, you stay stuck. There is a secret no one tells you. When you don't forgive, you don't just carry anger. You carry chains. You stay stuck. Your heart stays stuck. Your soul stays stuck. Your life feels like it is not moving forward. You pray, but something feels blocked. You make dua, but the tears don't fall the same way. You try to smile, but the smile feels heavy, like it's hiding something. That's because resentment is not just a feeling. It is a weight. It is a cage. It is a shadow that follows you wherever you go. Every time you sit down to rest, it sits beside you. Every time you close your eyes, it wakes up with you. Every time you try to enjoy something new, it reminds you of something old. And that's what keeps you stuck. It's not what they did. It's not their betrayal. It's not their words. It's the way you refuse to let it leave your chest. The wound already happened. The knife already cut. The moment is already in the past. But by holding on, you keep bringing yesterday into today. You keep reopening a scar Allah was trying to heal. That's why you feel tired. That's why you feel like no matter what you try, something is missing. Because forgiveness is the door to freedom. And until you forgive, you're standing outside of it, watching your life from the wrong side of the gate. Have you noticed? You try to move on, but something pulls you back. You try to start fresh, but the bitterness returns. You try to build new relationships, but the wound whispers, don't trust, you'll get hurt again. That is what it means to stay stuck. You are living in today, but your soul is trapped in yesterday. Even your blessings start to feel blocked. Allah sends rizq, but your heart is too heavy to enjoy it. Allah sends love, but your chest is too guarded to receive it. Allah sends light, but your eyes are too focused on the shadow behind you. So you keep asking, why does my life feel frozen? Why do I feel like nothing is moving forward? Why do I feel like I am trapped in the same place year after year? The answer is simple. Because you have chained your soul to a wound you refuse to release. And here's the truth. Until you forgive, you will never feel free. Until you forgive, you will never feel light. Until you forgive, you will never see clearly the path Allah is trying to guide you on. Unforgiveness blinds you. It blinds you from new opportunities. It blinds you from new blessings. It blinds you even from your own potential. Because how can you step into your future when your feet are tied to your past? And Shaitan loves this. He loves to see you stuck. He loves to see you replaying the same wound 100 times. He loves to see your chest heavy when you pray. He loves to see your dua distracted by anger, because he knows a heart that is stuck in bitterness cannot rise to Allah in freedom. And that is why forgiveness is not about them. It is about breaking the chains Shaitan wants to keep around you. It is about saying, Ya Allah, I will not stay chained to their mistake. I will walk free with you. Do you know what happens to a heart that refuses to forgive? It hardens, slowly, quietly, without you even noticing. At first, it just feels like sadness. Then it becomes anger. Then it becomes bitterness. And before long, it becomes stone. A heart that was once soft in salah now feels distracted. A heart that once cried easily in dua now feels dry. A heart that once found joy in remembering Allah now feels numb. And you think, why can't I feel anymore? Why do I feel so disconnected? Why do my prayers feel empty? The answer is simple. Because unforgiveness turned your heart into a prison. And inside that prison, blessings feel blocked. Have you not noticed? You work hard, but risk doesn't feel like barakah. You try to love, but trust feels broken. You ask for peace, but your nights remain restless. That's not because Allah has forgotten you. It's because you are still holding on to something He told you to release. You asked Allah for light, but you refused to put down the darkness. You asked Allah for healing, but you refused to stop touching the wound. You asked Allah for peace, but you refused to unlock the chain around your chest. And so you stay stuck. Not because Allah closed the doors, but because you closed your own hands around something that was never meant to stay. Think about the way you replay the scene in your head. Every time you think of what they did, your body tenses, your chest grows heavy, your mood changes. Your entire day is poisoned by a memory. How many years will you let a moment control your life? How many prayers will you let a wound interrupt? How many blessings will you block with your own bitterness? Because holding on doesn't hurt them. It only hurts you. It only steals from you. It only robs you of today by dragging yesterday into it. And Shaitan smiles every time you do this. He whispers, don't forgive. If you forgive, they win. If you forgive, you'll look weak. If you forgive, you'll lose. But what he doesn't tell you is that by not forgiving, you're already losing. You're losing your sleep. You're losing your smile. You're losing your softness. You're losing your closeness to Allah. That is the trap. That is why you stay stuck. Forgiveness is not surrender. Forgiveness is release. Forgiveness is saying, I will not let what they did right the rest of my life. I will not let their mistake decide who I become. I will not let their sin keep my soul chained. And the moment you forgive sincerely for Allah's sake, everything begins to shift. The heaviness starts to leave. The prayers feel alive again. The nights feel softer again. The dua flows from your chest again. Because forgiveness is not for them. It is Allah's gift to you. It is your way out of being stuck. It is your way back to Him. Broken people break others. Sometimes you look at the one who hurt you, and you wonder, how could they do this to me? How could someone I trusted break me like that? How could they look me in the eyes and still choose to wound me? But here's the hidden truth. People don't break others when they are whole. People break others when they are broken inside themselves. Think about it. A heart full of peace doesn't hurt. A soul filled with Allah's remembrance doesn't betray. A person who is healed doesn't tear others apart. Only hurt people hurt people. Only broken souls break others. Only those drowning in their own darkness spill poison into the hearts around them. So when they broke you, it wasn't because you were worthless. It wasn't because you deserved it. It wasn't because Allah abandoned you. It was because they were already shattered inside, and they took pieces of their own broken glass and pressed them into your skin. But here's the thing, just because they were broken doesn't mean you have to bleed forever. Yes, they spilled their pain into you, but Allah never wanted you to carry their poison. He wanted you to learn that sometimes their actions say more about the emptiness in them than about your value as a person. Think about the people who backbite. Why do they do it? Because their own hearts feel small, so they cut others down to feel tall. Think about the ones who betray trust. Why do they do it? Because they never learned loyalty themselves, so they cannot give what they never had. Think about the ones who lie. Why do they do it? Because truth feels too heavy for their fragile egos, so they hide behind falsehoods. You see, brokenness leaks. And when someone refuses to heal with Allah, their cracks cut everyone who comes close to them, and unfortunately, you were close, and so you bled. But here's what you must remember. Their brokenness is not your burden. Their wounds are not your responsibility. Their darkness is not meant to dim your light. Yes, they broke you, but only Allah can define whether you stay broken. Because sometimes what feels like someone destroying you is actually Allah showing you what they carried inside. And Allah saying, "My servant, don't let their brokenness break you too." If you keep holding on to the anger, if you keep replaying their betrayal, if you keep drinking the poison of their sin, then you're letting their brokenness become your prison. But if you release it to Allah, if you say, "Ya Allah, I give you their sin, I give you my pain, I give you my tears," then Allah takes what was meant to destroy you and turns it into wisdom, into light, into freedom. Do you know what happens when you let their brokenness live inside you? You start to mirror them. You start to carry their cracks. You start to bleed in places you were never cut. And that is exactly what Allah does not want for you. He wants your soul whole, not shattered. He wants your heart soft, not hard. He wants your future clean, not poisoned by their past. But when you replay their words, when you rehearse their betrayal, when you let their shadow sit in your chest, you are giving them more power than they deserve. Ask yourself, why should someone who could not even handle their own soul be given control over yours? Why should their weakness become your prison? Why should their lies become your truth? Number, you are worth more than that. Your soul belongs to Allah, and Allah does not want you chained to what broke them. Do you know why some people lie? Because they cannot face themselves. Do you know why some people betray? Because loyalty was never planted in their hearts. Do you know why some people hurt others? Because they are screaming from their own wounds. But Allah is Al-Basir, the all-seeing. He saw their brokenness. He saw their choices. He saw how they poured their poison into you. And He also saw the nights you cried, the times you questioned your worth, the moments you carried shame that was never yours to carry. And He whispers to your soul, "My servant, don't let what broke them break you too. Don't let their cracks shape your heart. Don't let their poison live in you, because here's the reality. They may never apologize. They may never admit the truth. They may never fix what they shattered. But Allah does not need their apology to heal you. He does not need their confession to raise you. He does not need their change to rewrite your story. He is enough. And when you trust Him enough to let go, you are saying, "Ya Allah, I will not let their brokenness break me. I will let you heal me instead." Forgiveness then becomes your shield, not to protect them, but to protect you. Forgiveness becomes the fire that burns the rope tying you to their sin. Forgiveness becomes the bridge that carries you out of their darkness, into Allah's light. You are not weak for letting go. You are strong because you chose freedom. You are strong because you refused to stay chained. You are strong because you trusted Allah's justice over your anger. And that is the moment your soul begins to breathe again. That is the moment the poison starts to leave. That is the moment the wound becomes wisdom. Forgiveness is sujud in action. Forgiveness doesn't start with words. It doesn't start with you saying, "I forgive them." It doesn't even start with you convincing yourself that it's over. Forgiveness begins in the darkest hours. When you are alone with Allah, when your forehead touches the ground in sujud, that is the moment hearts unlock. That is the moment chains melt. That is the moment the weight you've been carrying finally finds a place to fall. Think about sujud, the lowest position of your body, yet the highest moment of your soul. The place where kings and beggars look the same. The place where every disguise falls away. The place where you are closest to Allah. And in that closeness, something happens. The bitterness you held on to for years begins to tremble. The anger that sat in your chest begins to loosen. The wound that felt unhealable begins to open in a different way. Not to bleed, but to be cleaned. You press your forehead into the ground, and without realizing, you are pressing your pain into Allah's mercy. And He listens. He always listens, even when you cannot form the words, even when all you can do is sob, even when the only sound leaving you is silence. Allah records it as a dua. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, "The closest a servant is to his Lord is when he is in sujud." Because sujud is not just prayer, sujud is surrender. Sujud is saying, "Ya Allah, I can't hold this anymore. Take it, heal me, free me." And forgiveness, real forgiveness, happens right there. Not in front of people, not in your conversations, not even in your thoughts, but in that sacred moment when it's just you, your tears, and Allah. You see, forgiveness is too heavy to carry on your own. You can't just will it into existence. You can't just force yourself to forget. The wound is too deep. The betrayal is too sharp. The scar is too real. That's why Allah gave you sujud. Because sujud is the place where impossible weights are lifted. Sujud is where your chest empties. Sujud is where your soul breathes again. Have you ever cried so hard in sujud that you felt lighter afterwards? That is forgiveness beginning. That is Allah washing your heart without you even realizing. Because forgiveness is not about saying, "I let them go." Forgiveness is about collapsing in front of Allah, pouring out every name, every betrayal, every wound, and whispering, "Ya Allah, you saw it all. Now I give it all to you." And when you rise from that sujud, you rise lighter, you rise freer, you rise no longer chained to them because you handed the chains to Allah. Do you know why sujud feels different? Because it is the place where your body bows low, but your soul rises high. It is the place where your pain finally finds a voice. It is the place where forgiveness becomes real. When your forehead touches the ground, the earth beneath you knows your secrets. The angels above you write down every whisper. And Allah, the one closer to you than your jugular vein, hears every silent scream you cannot put into words. People think forgiveness is spoken, but forgiveness is wept. Forgiveness is breathed into the carpet in the middle of the night. Forgiveness is the tear that falls so quietly in sujud, yet shakes the heavens above. You cannot fake that moment. You cannot hide in that moment. And you don't need to. Because sujud is the one place where masks fall and your raw heart is laid bare before Allah. Have you noticed? When you cry in front of people, you feel embarrassed. But when you cry in sujud, you feel cleansed. Because those tears are not weakness. They are worship. They are proof that your soul has had enough of carrying the weight and has finally returned it to the one who can carry it all. The Prophet ﷺ told us that Allah descends in the last third of the night asking, "Who is calling upon me so that I may answer him? Who is asking of me so that I may give him? Who is seeking forgiveness so that I may forgive him?" Subhanallah. Do you see? Forgiveness begins in the moment you seek it from Allah. And sujud is the place where you lay your wounds down so He can heal them. Imagine your chest heavy with years of anger. Imagine your heart locked in chains of resentment. Then picture yourself falling into sujud, and slowly, link by link, the chains start to break. One for every tear, one for every whisper of Ya Allah, one for every moment you let your pain spill into the earth. And when you rise, you are not the same person who went down. You rise lighter, you rise softer, you rise freer. Because in sujud, forgiveness is not about them, it is about you and Allah. It is about saying, My Rabb, they don't deserve forgiveness, but my heart deserves freedom. So I forgive for your sake, because I trust you to handle the rest. And Allah loves that. He loves when His servant lets go of anger, to hold on to Him instead. He loves when you choose His mercy over your revenge. He loves when you fall broken in sujud, because He knows you will rise healed. The angels record your tears. They carry them to the heavens, and Allah responds in ways you cannot imagine. Doors open, peace returns, barakah flows, not because they changed, but because you did. Because you chose forgiveness in the place where forgiveness lives, your sujud. The healing Allah wants for you. There is a kind of healing you keep searching for in people, but it will never come from them, because the healing you need is only the healing Allah wants for you. You keep waiting for an apology. You keep waiting for them to admit what they did. You keep waiting for the moment they finally say, I'm sorry. But the truth is, some people will never give you that. And Allah is showing you. You don't need their words to heal. You need His mercy, because their apology cannot mend your soul. Their regret cannot rebuild your heart. Their approval cannot give you peace. Only Allah can do that. And this is why sometimes He delays your healing through people. So you finally realize, my servant, stop looking at them. Look at me, because I am the one who heals hearts. You think healing means forgetting what happened. Healing means remembering it without chains. Healing means looking back without breaking. Healing means carrying scars that no longer bleed. And Allah can give you that. He can take a memory that used to poison you and make it a memory that teaches you. He can take a pain that used to crush you and make it a pain that raises you. He can take what they meant to destroy you and turn it into the very thing that brings you closer to Him. But first, you must let Him. You must stop clutching the wound so tightly. You must stop replaying the betrayal like it's your identity. You must stop believing that healing will only come if they change, because Allah doesn't need them to change in order to heal you. He only needs you to turn back to Him. Do you know why your chest feels heavy? Because you've been trying to fix a spiritual wound with human tools. You've been trying to fill the crack with their words, their actions, their approval. But those tools will always fail, because the healing you need is not of this dunya, it is divine. Think about the Qur'an. Allah called it a healing for what is in the chest. Because what lives in your chest? Your heart. And when your heart is broken, only His words can repair it. Only His light can soften it. Only His remembrance can fill it again. The healing Allah wants for you is not small. It's not just enough to get by. It is complete. It is deep. It is permanent. He wants to take the bitterness out of your chest. He wants to return softness to your heart. He wants to give you nights of peace after years of restlessness. He wants to let you breathe again without pain tightening your throat. But you have to trust Him enough to let go. You have to say, Ya Allah, I don't know how to heal, but you do, so heal me in ways I cannot imagine. And He will. He always does. Because Allah is not just the one who sees your pain, He is the one who transforms it. He is the one who can take a wound that almost ended you and make it the reason you rise. Do you know what real healing feels like? It feels like chains breaking link by link. It feels like your chest finally opening after years of being closed. It feels like a sigh escaping you that you didn't even know you were holding. Healing is not when the pain disappears. Healing is when the pain stops controlling you. Healing is not when you forget. Healing is when you remember without bitterness, when you can think of what happened, and your heart no longer clenches. And Allah, He can give you that, because He is Al-Jabbar, the one who mends what is broken, not just fixing it halfway, not just covering the cracks, but making you stronger because of the cracks. Have you seen gold poured into broken pottery? The lines remain, but the cracks are no longer ugly. They shine. They tell a story of survival. They tell a story of transformation. That's what Allah does to your heart. He doesn't erase the past. He makes the scars part of your strength. He makes the cracks part of your beauty. He turns the wound into wisdom, but only if you let Him. Only if you stop reopening the scar every night. Only if you stop waiting for the one who broke you to heal you. Because healing was never in their hands. It was always in His. The healing Allah wants for you is not surface level. It doesn't just touch the smile on your face. It reaches the silence in your nights. It reaches the heaviness in your chest. It reaches the whispers you never told anyone, and He can wash them all away. Imagine your heart like a glass filled with murky water, anger, bitterness, resentment. Every sip tastes bitter. No matter how much sugar of dunya you add, it still tastes bitter. But then imagine Allah pouring His nur into it. Slowly, the murky water clears. Slowly, the bitterness is pushed out. Slowly, the cup becomes pure. That is what His healing feels like. It doesn't erase the glass. It cleans what's inside of it. And when Allah heals you, you see life differently. The same sunrise you ignored before, it makes you smile now. The same dua that felt empty before, it makes your chest tremble now. The same Qur'an you struggled to feel before, suddenly it feels like Allah is speaking directly to you. Because He is, because He always was. But your wound was too loud to let you hear it. And when He heals you, the whispers of His words become clear again. Healing is not just about peace. Healing is about closeness. Healing is about Allah bringing you back to Him. Maybe that's why He let you hurt. Not to punish you, not to abandon you, but to pull you back into His arms. And now, if you let Him, He will heal you in ways no apology, no human, no dunya could ever do. There comes a moment when the healing finally touches you, and you realize you are not the same person who once bled. The weight that used to sit in your chest like a stone, it feels lighter. The voice that used to whisper in your head every night, it grows silent. The bitterness that used to poison even your happiest moments, it begins to fade. And that's when you understand. This healing could never have come from them. It could never have come from this dunya. It was only Allah. He wanted this for you all along. Not survival. Not just to keep breathing, but peace. Deep, unshakable peace. The kind of peace that lets you smile again without guilt. The kind of peace that lets you pray again without distraction. The kind of peace that lets you love again without fear. The kind of peace that lets you stand in front of Him and say, Ya Allah, I hurt, but you healed me. Because that's the healing Allah wants for you. Not half healing, not temporary healing, but a healing so complete that the wound which once controlled you becomes the reason you rise closer to Him. Imagine yourself years from now looking back at this pain, and instead of tears of bitterness, you cry tears of gratitude. Because you realize that wound was the doorway to Allah. That betrayal was the rope that pulled you back to Him. That heartbreak was the very thing that made you discover His mercy. Subhanallah. Do you see how beautiful His plan is? The same thing that almost destroyed you became the thing that rebuilt you. The same thing that almost ended you became the thing that saved you. Because Allah never wanted you stuck in pain. He wanted you free. He wanted you light. He wanted you whole, so he whispered to your heart through the Qur'an. He sent you signs in the silence of the night. He pulled you into sujud when no one else could see. And piece by piece, he stitched your heart back together. And when Allah stitches, the thread is mercy, the thread is light, the thread is love. So your heart doesn't just heal, it becomes softer, it becomes wiser, it becomes more beautiful than before. That is the healing Allah wants for you, a healing that doesn't just patch the wound, but transforms it into strength. A healing that doesn't just let you survive, but teaches you how to live again. A healing that doesn't just free you from them, but connects you back to Him. So tonight, let go. Stop clutching the wound. Stop waiting for their apology. Stop waiting for the world to fix what only Allah can heal. Fall into sujud. Cry like you've never cried before. Pour it all out, because your Rabb is waiting to heal you, waiting to give you the peace you've been craving, waiting to show you the healing that was written for you before you were even born. And when He heals you, you will finally understand. Forgiveness was not about them. The healing was not about them. It was always about you and Allah. The freedom you've been searching for. You've been searching for freedom your whole life. Freedom from the pain, freedom from the memories, freedom from the weight no one else can see. And every time you thought you found it, it slipped through your hands. You thought freedom would come when they finally apologized, but it never came. You thought freedom would come when you got justice, but it still didn't feel enough. You thought freedom would come with time, but even years later, the ache was still there. Because the freedom you've been searching for is not found in them. It's not found in revenge. It's not even found in forgetting. The freedom you've been searching for is only found in Allah. It is found the moment you decide to forgive, not for them, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace, because your heart deserves light, because your soul deserves to breathe again. Forgiveness is freedom. Forgiveness is walking out of the prison you locked yourself in. Forgiveness is finally putting down the stone you've been carrying in your chest. Do you know what keeps you stuck? It's not what they did. That already happened. It's done. It's written. It's over. What keeps you stuck is carrying it every single day after, dragging it into every conversation, dragging it into every relationship, dragging it into every prayer. That is why you still feel heavy. That is why you still feel restless. That is why you still cry even when no one knows. Because your heart has been begging for freedom, and you keep feeding it anger instead. But tonight, Allah is whispering to your soul, "My servant, put it down. You've carried this long enough. You've been stuck long enough. Let go and let me heal you." Freedom is not when they change. Freedom is not when the past disappears. Freedom is when you stop giving them the power to live inside your chest. Freedom is when you finally say, "Ya Allah, I give this pain to you." And that's when it happens. The moment you release it in sujud, something shifts. The weight begins to lift. The tears feel lighter. Your chest feels open. That is the freedom you've been searching for. Not outside you, but inside you. Not in them, but in Allah. And it's been waiting for you all along. Freedom is not far. It is already written for you. But you cannot walk into it with your hands clenched. You must release what is burning you so Allah can place light in its place. Have you noticed? The more you hold on to the wound, the heavier your steps become. The more you replay their betrayal, the harder it is to move forward. The more you clutch the memory, the darker your nights feel. Because you cannot walk toward Allah while dragging chains from people behind you. Every time you hold on to anger, you're tightening those chains. Every time you refuse to forgive, you're choosing to stay locked in a cage that Allah already left open. Do you see it? The prison door is wide open. The key has been in your hand all along, but you keep sitting inside, clutching the bars, telling yourself you're safer in chains. But you are not safer, you are stuck. And you've been praying for freedom, while holding the very thing that blocks it. You've been begging for peace, while carrying the very fire that burns it. You've been searching for healing, while clutching the wound with your own hands. Freedom comes when you finally say, Ya Allah, I release it. I release the anger. I release the bitterness. I release the revenge. I release what they did to me. Because I want you more than I want this pain. And the moment you do that, the chains begin to fall. One by one, slowly at first, then all at once. You will hear it in your soul, the sound of shackles hitting the ground. You will feel it in your chest. The sudden lightness where heaviness lived, you will see it in your eyes. The return of a softness you thought was gone forever. That is freedom. The freedom Allah wanted for you all along. You thought freedom was when they finally said sorry. But even if they never say it, you can still be free. Because your freedom was never in their mouth. It was always in your sujud. You thought freedom was when life became fair again. But this dunya is not fair. And still, you can be free. Because your freedom is not from dunya. Your freedom is from Allah. And once you taste it, you'll wonder why you waited so long. You'll wonder why you dragged those chains for years. You'll wonder why you let them live in your chest rent-free. But Allah knew. He knew the exact night your soul would finally collapse in front of Him. He knew the exact tear that would fall in sujud, that would unlock your heart. He knew the exact moment you would whisper, Ya Allah, I can't anymore. Heal me. And that was the moment freedom rushed in. Because real freedom is not when the story changes. It's when the story no longer controls you. It's when you look back and no longer bleed. It's when you remember, but your chest feels peace instead of pain. That is the freedom you've been searching for. And it was always closer than you thought. There comes a night when you realize you've carried this wound long enough. A night when your soul whispers louder than your anger. A night when you finally fall to the ground in sujud and say, Ya Allah, I'm tired. Ya Allah, I don't want to live chained anymore. Ya Allah, set me free. And He does. Not because they changed, not because the past disappeared, but because your heart finally surrendered. Because you finally gave Allah what was breaking you. Because you finally trusted His justice more than your anger. And in that surrender, you taste something sweeter than revenge. You taste peace. You taste freedom. Freedom feels like air filling your lungs again. Freedom feels like your chest no longer burning when their name comes up. Freedom feels like laughing and realizing it's real this time. Freedom feels like looking back at the wound, and instead of bitterness, you feel gratitude that Allah carried you through it. That is the freedom you've been searching for, and once you taste it, you will never want to go back. Because chains feel too heavy now. Because bitterness feels too dark now. Because your soul has tasted the sweetness of letting go, and it knows this is what it was created for. And you realize something powerful. The ones who hurt you never had the power to chain you. It was you who kept holding the rope. It was you who kept replaying the story. It was you who stayed in the cell. And Allah, out of His mercy, never stopped leaving the door open. Never stopped waiting for you. Never stopped whispering to your soul, My servant, let go. Step into the light I've been saving for you. So you take a step, then another, and suddenly the prison is behind you. And suddenly the air feels fresh again, and suddenly your soul feels light again. And that's when you understand. Freedom was never far. It was always one surrender away. It was always one sujud away. It was always one Ya Allah away. The dunya tells you freedom is doing whatever you want. But Allah shows you freedom is letting go of what destroys you. The dunya tells you freedom is holding power over others. But Allah shows you freedom is when no one else has power over your heart except Him, and that is the highest kind of freedom, the freedom that cannot be taken by betrayal, the freedom that cannot be stolen by heartbreak, the freedom that cannot be touched by this dunya, because it lives in your heart with Allah. That is the freedom you've been searching for. And it was written for you all along. So tonight, don't do it for them, do it for your soul. Do it for Allah, because forgiveness is not about excusing their sin. It's about Allah excusing your pain. Forgiveness is not about setting them free. It's about Allah setting you free. May Allah soften our hearts, heal our wounds, and free us from every chain of pain. Ameen.